Welcome to part 5 of the CostX training video series. In part 5 we will demonstrate the subcontractor comparison feature of CostX. When a bill of quantity is received from a quantity surveyor or client, this powerful feature allows quoted or alternate prices from various trades and suppliers to be compared and brought back into the received BOQ. A subcontractor comparison report can also be produced to show the various trade prices and quotes with different colours indicating a different status. In this example we're creating a fresh new job. Remember, you can refer to the Subcontractor Comparison Manual for more detail on anything you see in this video. We'll start by inserting a subcontractor's profile. This is done by going into System Administration and selecting Costing. Under the Subcontractors tab, we can insert two subcontractors and their relevant details. We can also nominate the trades to match a trade breakup workbook to the relevant subcontractors. A more advanced way is to import all the user's subcontractors with a CSV file. We can also add subcontractors directly in the workbook. Now let's create a subcontractor comparison workbook. In this building, we've already imported the BOQ from the QS and the code library for our package breakdown, which we will be using later. Under real-life circumstances, the BOQ would only have quantities but no prices. However, to save time here, we have pre-entered all the estimate prices. The client bill is a single level workbook which comprises of concrete, reinforcement and formwork. For the purpose of the subcontractor comparison, we want to separate the three trades. As the codes have all been pre-entered and the code library already imported, we just need to select Generate Workbook Group by Code from the drop-down menu under the Add button. We can call the new workbook Trade Sort. Ensure the correct pre-imported code library and column I are selected and click OK. Now, when we open the new Trade Sort workbook, we can see it is a two-level workbook with three different trades. From here, select the Generate Subcontractor Workbook option from the drop-down menu, leaving the new workbook's name as Trade Sort Subcontractor Comparison. Note, in the Preferred Subcontractor field, we'll select the Leave Blank Initially option, as this will leave this preferred subcontractor column empty until the user defines it. Ensure all three trades are ticked for inclusion and rename the three allowance columns to Contingency, Margin and Adjustment. Now click OK. A new subcontractor comparison workbook is generated and the subcontractor ribbon will open. The subcontractor workbook contains features such as fixed columns for lowest and preferred subcontractors, read-only cells, automatic formulas, subcontractor selection, incomplete item check, empty price flags, columns formatting, export tender and export to Excel, adding notes, and subcontractor headings, plus more. We can also see that although no data has been entered against estimate price or any subcontractors, the lowest column have been pre-filled with the estimate total. After the subcontractor comparison workbook has been created, the first thing to do is assign subcontractors to trades. Notice that the two subcontractors which we have added into system administration has been automatically added into the concrete trade in column Q and S. This is because we nominated concrete trades for them both when we added them. Now we want to assign subcontractors for formwork and reinforcement trades. Using the subcontractor button, we can access system administration directly and add two formwork subcontractors, this time nominating the formwork trade. Now close system administration. Click the Trade Properties button and in the prompt window, click the two boxes against the two formwork subcontractors we just added to assign them against the formwork trade. Also, tick the single preferred box. This means that only one subcontractor per trade can be selected. Click OK to close the window. Another way to assign subcontractors is to directly add them in the Trade Properties window. We will now demonstrate this for the reinforcement trade. Click any cell in the reinforcement row, then click the Trade Properties button, add two sample reinforcement subcontractors, tick the single preferred box and click OK. Selecting Yes in the prompt message window will then save the two subcontractors' information in system administration. Now, two subcontractors have been assigned to each of the three trades. The next step is to fill in the subcontractor's prices. Workbooks can be exported and sent to the subcontractor to be opened in CostX Viewer or Excel. Once opened, quotes can be entered, saved and sent back from the subcontractor or supplier for us to import back in CostX. Let's practice this for the concrete trade using the CostX Viewer method. We can click on any cell in the concrete row, then click the Export Tender button in the prompt window, make sure the concrete trade is ticked, and click OK to export the workbook. This can be sent to our concrete subcontractors. Now, say we've received the completed file from the subcontractor. To import, click any cell which has the subcontractor's name or total, then click the Import Quote button. Select the prepared quote in the folder to import the quote. A price of 36,716 has been filled in cell R1 as the total price of the first subcontractor. We can also repeat the same process for the second subcontractor. We'll now drill down to the second level of the concrete trade, and for easier navigation we can hide the columns which we won't be using at the moment, columns G to H. Now click cell 1 and select frames, and use the horizontal scroll bar or tab to the right to display the preferred and low columns next to the subtotal column. The low columns have been automatically filled with data. As the single preferred option was ticked for this trade, this means that only one subcontractor can be selected as preferred. Hence, the low column is showing one subcontractor for all items because that subcontractor is lowest overall, even some of their individual rates are higher. To demonstrate this principle, untick single preferred option. We can now see that the low column is showing the lowest price for each item. However, in this instance we wish to retain single preferred status. Reselect the single preferred option from the trade properties and then return to level 2. Once a price has been entered, we can select the subcontractor for that item as preferred, regardless of whether the price is the lowest, in order to arrive at a tender price. However, adjustments may need to be made to the pricing to ensure that the comparison is on a like-for-like basis. We'll now select the 4 cells and delete the content. As in this case, the estimate pricing can be used to price the items excluded from the first subcontractor's tender. Then, from the drop-down menu of the Fill button, choose Fill from Estimate. The estimate rate will be inserted into the cells. With the color of the numbers changed to blue, which indicates use of an estimate rate, the second subcontractor is the lowest overall. To select the second subcontractor as preferred, click any cell with its name or total in it to select. Then click the Make Preferred button or right-click and choose the Make Preferred option. The preferred column will be filled with the selected subcontractor's details for all estimate items, and their details in the subcontractor columns will be bold and underlined. The preferred selection can be cleared by use of the Cleared Preferred button in the ribbon. Back on level 1, we can see the preferred details have been carried to level 1. We can also choose to fill any missing items from a lump sum. For the pricing of the formwork trade, let's assume the first subcontractor has submitted a lump sum price with no rate breakdown. In level 1 of the workbook, click the total cell of the first subcontractor to select it, and then click the Fill button. From the drop-down menu, select the Fill to Lump Sum option. Then, in the prompt window, enter a lump sum in the final total box, choose Quote for the status and select OK. Then, drill down to level 2 and verify that the lump sum figure has been spread over all the items pro rata to the estimate pricing. The details are shown in a green color indicating the use of the quote price, and are also shown in the low column as this is the only pricing that has been entered so far. Going through this video, we can see that there are various colors. CostX provides 4 statuses of subcontractor figures, each with an associated color: green for quote, purple for plug, blue for estimate, and orange for other. The status and color of the figures can be changed at any stage by clicking the relevant colored buttons in the ribbon. At the top level of the subcontractor comparison workbook, we can also see a bar chart with the colors below the total figure. Status and color information is also available in subcontractor custom reports. We can also add addendums as required. Select the first subcontractor as preferred. Assuming that an addendum to the formwork trade has been received, the addendum item will need to be inserted into the pink section at the end of trade. First, insert addendum number 1 as the heading in pink cell B23 and click enter. Then, right-click and insert rows. We can copy and paste the headings and item description. Then insert a negative quantity as an omit item. Next, we can insert the new heading and description below, and insert a positive quantity as an added item. Insert the rates for estimate and for both subcontractors. We can see the second subcontractor still has a lower price. We can also add notes to the addendum items. Here we'll just put in the receipt date. After the notes have been entered, we can see that a small red tag has appeared at the corner of the cell indicating the existence of the note. Notes can be edited at any time. Click the View Notes button and Note Schedule, which includes all notes in the current level of workbook and the associated cell name, will open at the lower part of the workbook. An incomplete item check can now be performed to check if there is anything missing. To show this, we can drill down to level 2 of the reinforcement trade, and here we have pre-entered some items for the subbies. However, the second subcontractor's fabric items have been left blank. We can see these missing cells all have an orange tag in the corner indicating a missing price. Now, if we click the incomplete item check button, a window will open with a list of the incomplete items. Double-clicking on each of them will outline the corresponding cell in this worksheet. Now, we can close the window and enter the prices for those missing items. Now, all the subcontractor prices have been entered. We can see that both quotes are very different to the estimate price. This is caused by an estimate rate input error. To rectify this, we need to unlock the workbook first and then edit the estimate rates. After rectification, we can click the same button again to lock the workbook and prevent error entries. The objective now will be to select the second subcontractor for the bar reinforcement and the first subcontractor for the fabric. To do this, click the Trade Properties button, untick Single Preferred box and click OK. Now, select all the figures in the low name column. Then click the Make Preferred button, and from here, select the first subcontractor for bar reinforcement and the second subcontractor for fabric. Return to level 1 of workbook. We can now see that both the first and second subcontractor's name appear in the preferred name column in the reinforcement row. The subcontractor workbook contains 3 allowance columns which we previously renamed to contingency, margin and adjustment. We can add markups to these columns if required. The markup allowances may be done at both level 1 and level 2 of the workbook. Click the Fill with Percentage formula and enter a value of 5. This will apply 5% to the preferred subcontractor's total for all of the items on the second level. Drill down to verify this has occurred. Then, for the markup column, use the same function, but this time we'll use a percentage of 10. Notice how the formula has been entered on level 2 and totaled automatically on level 1. For the adjustment column, use the Fill to Lump Sum function again to spread 1000 over the cells. Drill down to level 2 and verify this has occurred. There are 15 report templates provided with CostX for subcontractor comparison reporting. These are system reports and cannot be edited, but can be copied and then edited as a custom report. Let's click on the Reports button to open the Reports window. We can see that the 15 report templates are listed. If we select one of these report templates, we can generate and preview that report. We can see the data has all been transferred to the report, including status information and colors. When the comparison exercise is complete and a tender price has been determined, A tender schedule priced using all the selected subcontractor prices can be generated. Now, with the completed subcontractor comparison workbook open, we can generate a standard workbook. A new name will be required for the workbook. There are also options to choose preferred excluding allowances or preferred including allowances. Let's select preferred including allowances for now. You may also use the drop-down Rate Subsheets menu to select an option whether to replace rate subsheets with lump sum preferred rates or retain the rate breakdowns and distribute the preferred rate from the subcontractor comparison across the rate breakdowns pro rata to give the required totals. Open the new workbook and navigate through it. The workbook is a standard workbook which can be edited in the normal way. Additional data has already been inserted into it, including the markup allowances and the names of the selected subcontractors listed against their pricing. At the beginning of this video, we coded a client bill and generated a trade sort workbook and subsequently the subcontractor comparison workbook. Now we are able to return the price tender workbook which we generated from the subcontractor comparison workbook back to the client bill format, but with all the subcontractors' prices filled in. This workbook may be used with any of our normal report templates to print a bill of quantities ready to be sent back to the client. This ends our video on part 5 of the CostX training video series, focusing on subcontractor comparison.